We are now going to look at creating a workspace for a classroom and some of the tools that you have in order to do that, how to set one up, how to access them. There are one of two ways that you can access a workspace, whether you are creating a new one or accessing one that's been shared with you or you have created before. If you've already created one in one of your classes, you can simply choose that class from your row at the top, and when you go into that class, the workspace will be there, or you'll be able to create a new one. So let's say that I go into my Language Arts 1 class, and I choose that. I'm on Create and Share. Notice right now there is no workspace, so I can create a workspace. If I do that within this class, it is going to allow me to create that in Language Arts 1 specifically. So if I create a workspace, it is going to have me name the workspace, so I can give it a name. Let's say that I'm working on a unit and we're talking about sentence structure. I can choose the folder. It will default to the class folder in my drive, but you'll also notice that there are some templates down here that I may want to use as my starting structure for the workspace. So you may want to take a look at those and think about it beforehand. When you're ready, you can either say create, and it will just simply create the workspace, or you can do create and share. If I choose create and share, you'll notice I have two options of how I would like to share this. I can share it in my SmartAmp class or email. Now, presuming that I have already set up a classroom in Language Arts 1 with students populated, this would be my best way to do it. Just choose SmartAmp class and choose next. I could email if I would need to, or if I had someone that I wanted to have access to this outside of my class. And you'll notice you also have some settings here, and this is going to tell me right now no one else has access. So when I create the workspace, I can do that simply by going to my class, creating the workspace, choosing with whom to share the workspace, and then begin to work. When you open up a brand new workspace, it is going to be completely blank, and we will look at some of the tools and how to manipulate them. But at this point, there's another way that I want to go over to show you how to create a new workspace. So we're going to go back to our home button, which is always in the upper left. And now I can simply go to my workspaces, and notice it says work without connecting to a class. So I can click go. It will simply open all my workspaces that I have shared with me or my drive. Or I can simply create a workspace. When I do this, I'll give it a name just like I did before. I can change where the folder location is. So maybe I don't want it to be in Language Arts 1. Maybe I simply want it to be in my drive. So I will click Select. I will give it a name. We'll call this Test 1. Maybe I'll choose the Concept Map 2, and I'll create. And now, instead of there being a completely white blank screen, I have a template in which I can create, I can use, I can manipulate, and I have not had to create this. It's already been created for me, so I can simply go in and design it how I would like it to look. The benefit of that is that if I have a topic and I really want my students to get involved, I could grab one of the templates, put it in there, put it in the things that matter to us, that are part of our learning progression, that are part of our unit, and we can get to work immediately without me having to design an entire workspace. You may want to work on designing some key workspaces that you use as templates, but also don't forget that there are some available that might be very easy for you to use. Now, if you create one like this and you want to move it into a class, we can do that very easily. You'll see that this is Test 1, and right here it says not in a class. Well, you'll see that I can go to my dashboard, and when I go to my dashboard, Test 1 is where I have it. So right now this is simply in my drive. This is going to be Test 1. I've chosen it. I can choose Share. I can choose SmartAmp class and choose Next. And now I can choose a class that I would like to share it with. So let's say that I want to choose it with share it with Language Arts 1. I can choose Language Arts 1. I can say that the students can edit. Maybe individual participants can edit in Language Arts 1. So maybe I want to differentiate my work, and when I share this created workspace, I've designed it specifically for students who really need that extra support with a particular idea, and it's not necessarily everyone in the class that needs it. I can control it down that far so that those students who may need that extra support can access it and work with it. So I'll click OK, and now I have my Test 1 workspace. When I open it again, it is going to repopulate itself, and you'll see it now. I haven't manipulated or changed anything here, but now I have a Test 1 option. When I go back to my home and I go into, we called that, we were in Language Arts 1. I look at Create and Share. You'll notice that sentence structure now shows up. So what you would need to do is go back out of the created workspace once you've moved it, choose the class and go back in, make sure it's there, and then your students will be able to actually begin to manipulate that sentence structure workspace. You can share this as many times, in as many ways as you would like. You can make copies of it. You can hand out copies to students, which we'll look at when we get into the workspace itself in our next video.